wanna know what time it is?
Time for YesterYear's Mac apps. Hello and welcome to a follow-up to the After Dark 4 video, which took a fairly speedy look through all of the screensaver modules that came bundled with. This time round, we'll give the same treatment to the other one I have, After Dark Totally Twisted. This was billed as an add-on pack for the base After Dark experience, although in actuality it doesn't need the base application, providing 13 new screensavers for the good people of 1995. These are firmly embedded in the gross-out culture of the 90s, with the airborne lavatory that they slapped on the box masterfully setting expectations. The colourful front and back of the cardboard sleeve contrast starkly with the black box it surrounds. Assuming my copy is typical of what they all had, then within it is a registration card, 2 manuals covering installation features and support, one is for Windows, one is for Macintosh, and a CD holder that advertises additional module packs available for purchase. The CD itself has more toilets, can't have too many of those, and is used for installation. Its purpose then complete, you can give it to your mate or something, who promised that they just wanted to borrow it for one night so they could install it, only to have them repeatedly forget it over the course of the next 2 months. After which, finally handing it back in abysmal condition, having been drenched in cola, squashed by a falling object, and half the contents missing entirely. Or at least that was my experience lending people stuff back in the day. Mind you, so much as sneeze at a PS1 case and it'll fall to bits. Anyway, wouldn't you know it, I've rocketed off topic. After installation, Mac users may wish to go into the Apple menu items folder to remove the duplicate shortcut that it's put in. Once that's sorted, boot its control panel and select the Totally Twisted option from the drop-down. Let's see what we've got then. Starting from the top. Bungee Roulette sees a horde of rotund, shirtless fools defy gravity and sense by jumping down the screen attached to a bungee rope of questionable durability. Impact with the ground causes them to explode, leaving blood and gore all over the floor. One neat touch I saw was that the heart will occasionally squidge around, still beating for a bit. The viewer has the ability to select the wear and tear of the equipment, i.e. how often it'll snap, or select some other options for the jumpee. Half-man mode made me squirm a bit. He just comes apart from the waist. Fish are an option. They explode into sushi, while cows are apparently filled with prepared food. Because of course they are. Everyone knows that's where sandwiches come from. Moving on, Charmeleon is the module that I felt was the most revolting. These gross little critters walk around the screen, eat icons, sniff their holes, sniff each other's holes, as well as their expulsions, sloppily French kiss, get it all wrong and become attached to each other, and I don't mean emotionally, attempt to escape and end up turning inside out, eating the result, and barfing everywhere, which is hardly surprising given everything else. I'd say have fun clearing that up, but ugh. Coming soon is a faux advert where this goofball dances around to advertise novelty products. There's a few sensible chuckles to be had here, but once a viewer has seen them all, there's not much more to really enjoy about these. The music is a cheesy rendition of the Flying Toasters theme, an After Dark staple, but my 6500 running macOS 8.1 ruined it by cutting off the end. An amusing twist on the Flying Toasters is flying toilets, for which I've been able to reuse an old bit of footage. These mobile thrones fly from the top right to bottom left, in the same way as the toasters did, sometimes with users, sometimes without. I'm not sure if this was just a novelty design, but I couldn't help but notice the water level was a bit high, and that these seem to have horseshoe-shaped seats, which is a bit weird. I'm used to a full ring. I can't help but feel uncomfortable as the cow happily plonks its udder down into the gap for a long old porcelain kiss. The thought sends shivers down my spine. Frankenstein Screen is a bit weak. It takes 2 eyes, a nose and a mouth, and makes a face out of them. Perhaps this works better in smaller resolutions where it's not so spaced out. Despite the sliders allowing more or less ugliness to make it onto the face, I didn't really perceive much of a difference between the options. Message Mayhem is a module that's been done a few times before, with different themes. Type in a message or pick from the drop-down, select one of 2 ways to display it, and watch it draw in. The tile one is supplemented with a few duff puns about grout. One small goof I noticed is that the unlucky fella seems to regrow his hands after he's bled out and collapsed. Here's something I didn't know was a thing. The little icons for each modules will animate when clicked. These sit next to an info box that can expand to reveal a bit more about what the module is, the settings, and who made it. This one is Mike's So-Called Life, and I think it's my favourite in the bundle. Mike here proceeds to do naff all in his trailer. You could perhaps also call it COVID-19 Quarantine Simulator. At least I'm making a bit more of it than he is. There's a few different rooms, one of which looks to need a bit of a clean, and they changed their position around the screen so this burn-in avoiding program doesn't cause burn-in. Minehunt doesn't really resonate with me much. 3 selectable weapons pan around the screen attempting to shoot mimes. A slider will toggle the accuracy, which ranges from inept to utterly inebriated. Mowing Boris is a lot better. This takes two previous modules from 1991's More After Dark, these being Mowing Man and Boris, and runs them at the same time, with fairly grisly consequences. I figured that this was just some dunce not paying attention to where he was going, until I noticed him reversing to finish the job. Depending on where the sliders are positioned, Boris will occasionally get his revenge, having buried the Mowing Man and nicked his lawnmower. Serves him right. Flmm Boy is an horrible little mucus child that gunks up the screen with goo, complete with fitting sound effects. I really don't know why someone would choose this. Would it not make the computer feel a bit gross to touch afterwards? Shock Clocks is a timekeeping module, not unlike all the other clock modules present in the After Dark packs. One's a rotting head, another is a chimp winding a crank, and the third, which is thankfully a bit different, was what I opened the video with.
Wanna know what time it is?
Some grubby, toothless weirdo walks around the screen, and occasionally whips open his overcoat to waggle his clock. Highbrow stuff. Next! Witness some sort of mafia murder at the Toxic Swamp. This would appear to be a highly polluted twist on the fish screensaver, with the wildlife appearing to be heavily mutated or undead. The condemned slowly sinks to the bottom, changes all sorts of colours, and then dies. Might as well add in a toilet too, because why not? The overall result is a very grim scene indeed. Finally, Voyeur is a peek into an apartment complex. There's a lot more going on through these windows than there was in Mike's trailer, from the mundane, to the bizarre, to the murderous. The way these silhouettes are behaving would suggest that there aren't any walls, or floors. This module is definitely one of the highlights. As well as the debacle going on in the building, the cityscape in the background looks excellent. So, that's all 12 of them. One last thing I'll mess with here is the multi-module mode. It's something that doesn't work with the ones from After Dark 4. Why settle for one screensaver when multiple ones can run at the same time? I myself don't really care for this. I think it's messy, even more so when I tried overlaying one on top of the other. The transparency just didn't work. Still, I'm sure many others enjoyed making their own up. I think it may allow different modules to run on different screens as well, so there's that. The application is definitely no poorer for its inclusion. Out of the 5 packs of themed modules that were released around this time, I do feel that Totally Twisted was probably the strongest out of all of them. And that's not to discredit the others, but you've really got to like Looney Tunes or Star Trek or etc. for those to have been worth the price. Should I manage to acquire another module pack, then I'll give that a video too, although they don't come up for sale at a sensible price all that often, so we'll have to see. Admittedly, I could just get them off the garden or the repository, and so can you. Links are, as ever, in the description. We'll leave it there then. If you want to see some more and haven't watched the video on the After Dark 4 modules yet, then click on the end card for that. Otherwise, here's the usual end blurb of blah blah Twitter, blah de blah subscribe, blah chaffing blah, see you next time. Thanks for watching.